Okay, so I'm sharing my screen and today we will talk about very first technical module of this training. So that's we called as an introduction of VMware vSphere and software defined data center. Okay, so well, before starting this, there is a lot of thing I want to share with you to understand about all these modules and all. Okay, let me just insert a blank slide here. Okay, so when we talk about virtualization, okay, so what pictures comes in your mind? Virtual is something software defined that is not existing physically, right? That's what is virtual. So virtualization is spread out a lot, not only across the compute, overall storage, network. I mean, lot of things in today's IT words where you can do the virtualization. Okay, so if we go a decade back, or some of the legacy customers have a small environment, they are using their data center is still to using only physical servers. When we say physical servers, so it means that whatever operating system, whatever application you are running, those are dedicatedly running on a single physical box. Let us suppose some of the people are running Windows server on the top of it. Maybe some are running Linux, maybe some are running KVM, or maybe some of the running are some another Mac operating system, and they are developing their applications and all, right? So in this picture, all these are the physical servers, right? All these are the physical servers. It could be from different vendors, right? It could be from Dell, it could be from HP, it could be from Lenovo, IBM, blah blah blah. Okay, so for all to manage all these physical server individually, so we need a big uh, storage fabric and big network fabric to provide an enterprise class of networking. So for example, if we are using some of the network switch in the data center, so we have to connect all the physical servers to these network switches, right? Same way, for assigning the enterprise level of storage, we have to design the enterprise storage fabric to all of them and to connect with the storage switch, and then again to connect some storage controllers which are presenting the uh, enterprise level of storage to these all nodes. Okay, so it could be like this. So whenever we will talk a traditional environment where each for each operating system and for each application, a one dedicated server is associated. That's we called one-to-one mapping to your operating system and underlying physical servers. Correct? So when virtualizations comes in picture, what it made change for you, right? How it's make a data center administrator job easier as compared to managing all the physical server individually for all the applications. For example, in today's date, you want to be run 2000 of physical servers, then it's very hectic to manage them separately their network topology that require lot of network switches, that require lot of storage fabric. So there is lot of administration require, power supply require, lot of logistics are required, correct? Lot of network fabric are required, lot of storage fabric are required. There is a lot of thing, lot of administration, lot of space. I mean, number of factors comes in picture once you are using an traditional data center environment where you are using each physical server dedicatedly using for individual operating system and individual application. All right. So there were a lot of challenges to look this kind of environment. So what VMware and another champions think of in near in like I would say a decade year or just 10-15 years before. So they think of, instead of I will use number of physical server, those are dedicatedly associated to one-to-one application. So software they make a software, and that software's name they have given, like for operating Windows, like you say operating system, but that's they called as an hypervisor. Hypervisor. And different providers, different companies work on it, but VMware was from very first few that launched it. VMware, your Microsoft, Red Hat, or Oracle itself. So a lot of companies started to think around that how we can avoid to use a dedicated physical server for a dedicated operating system and work and particular application. So what they think of, let's not use all the physical servers individually. So take a single physical server, on the top of it put an operating system, I would say software. That software we will call as hypervisor. Hypervisor. Okay, like different vendors make different type of hypervisors, but end of the day their goal was same, to a hypervisor will be installed as an system software directly on your physical server instead of putting an operating system. And what this hypervisor have the quality, this hypervisor have the quality to convert these physical resources like your CPU, memory, network, storage into virtual, and create the, instead of physical server, create the virtual server, and assign all these physical resources virtually to all these virtual servers. So what would be the advantage of it? Like, it's all depend upon your physical server configuration. We can, I mean, in today's market, if you will say the density is very high, we can easily run to 70, 80, or up to 100 of server by using a single physical server. Okay. So what benefits it brings on the table for the vSphere administrator was that instead of you are using 100 physical server, now you should use only one physical server, create your virtual servers. Like there's a different names of them. Sometimes we say them as a virtual machine also, right? Create the virtual machines, create the virtual servers, and assign all the resources to them. It means that if we'll compare a physical server and a virtual server, the only difference is you can do all the task here as well. You can do all the task here. Only difference is here all my resources are physically available, but here in virtual server all my resources are virtually. vCPU, virtual memory, virtual storage, virtual network. So what is the benefit of like to present a virtual server on a top of physical server? The first is, on a single physical server we can run number of virtual servers, or I would say number of virtual machines. So a virtual machine is nothing, just a software defined component that you are running with virtual resources. Okay. And from where they are taking resources? They are taking the resources from the underlying hypervisor host, a server where we will install the hypervisor, that is called as an hypervisor host. Okay. And different companies, different manufacturers made their own hypervisors like from VMware. It was earlier ESX, now it is ESXi. From Microsoft, it is Hyper-V. From Red Hat, it is Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, that is KVM. And from Oracle, it is Oracle Virtual Server. Okay. So, so even any of the public cloud provider, either that is your AWS, that is your Azure, that is Google, that is IBM, whomever is that, whenever those are making a cloud as an underlying infrastructure, they are using some hypervisors, and on the top of that, end of the day, you are creating some of the virtual machine. Only the difference they have is an soft additional. So what is the difference between a virtual data center and cloud? A cloud is just nothing, just a one layer of software that is behaving just like as a cloud for you, providing a self-service portal. But end of the day, as an underline, they are using some of the virtualization platform. Okay. All right. Any question?
No.
Naveen, Praveen, Pramod, Oshiar,
No.
Suresh?
No.
No, sir. No question.
Okay, great. Cool. So it means that we are going in right direction, right? So I'm keeping just for this slide for your reference as well, so that you may get level of some understanding later. You may able to recall all these stuff, right? So as I said, there is different companies who made the virtualization platform. Okay. But like, if you will see in the market, out of 100 customer, I would say 95 or 90% of customers are using VMware, VMware, vSphere. When I say vSphere, vSphere is the VMware hypervisor. VMware vSphere as an hypervisor platform. Okay, right? As an hypervisor platform. So if you need to make, instead of a physical, I would say a virtual data center that would be created by using the VMware vSphere that we referred as an ESXi as well. Okay. So how it goes actually? How it goes? So again, I will draw a picture. I have to onboard some of the physical servers. When I say onboard, it means that you have to, within a data center, there is a concept of rack. So all these servers will be assembled inside the racks. Okay, like there is one server, there is another server, there is another server. Okay, all will be assembled into the rack. So normally when you see a server, the primary difference between a server and your desktop computer is, a server always have a, first of all, it have a very heavy in density. When we say heavy density, as compared to normal desktop, they have heavy CPU configuration, heavy memory configuration, heavy storage configuration, as well as you will have a dedicated management port to manage the server hardware remotely. Okay. So when we say the remote management port, like it is depend upon which vendor from you have purchased it. For like you have purchased from Dell, then my remote management port will be Dell IDRAC, HP ILO, Cisco IPMI. So these, all these are the definitions of managing the, I mean, these are the ports. Normally we refer as management port for out of band management. Out of band management means is, does not matter if your host have some operating system, some hypervisor in it, but by using this port, if you are sitting somewhere remotely, you will be able to access it, and you will be able to take the keyboard video mouse, KVM console. It means that it will just behave like you see something in your desktop at home. So when you boot it, you see something there, right? Either there is operating system or not, that's a later thing. But yeah, without an operating system at your home, how you use a desktop machine? You just connect some VGA cable, right? And just take the console on your monitor somewhere on a display, right? But kind of server environment, in the production environment, you are not always allowed to go inside the data center and just take the local KVM, the keyboard video mouse, KVM port. Okay, using local console, you would not be allowed. So always from production environment, first time you have to configure some management IP address here on the basis of the server providers you are using. Dell, HP, Cisco, it could be Lenovo, it could be Intel. Okay, that's always have the initial level of configuration to configuring management IP, and where you are sitting, you can easily able to access the management port. I mean, the management console. It could be ID rack, it could be IL and all, and from that management console, you would be able to launch the uh, remote KVM, or I would say remote console also. You would be able to launch that, and you would be able to see what actually happening inside this server. Okay, so coming back to our story. So what VMware vSphere provides you? VMware vSphere provides you ESXi as an hypervisor. So how you will install the basic configuration, you will do like that. Then from your local system you are sitting with, you will install this by mapping the ISO inside this, right? The way you do an installation of your operating system. So this ESXi, this is ESXi, this is another host, this is another host, this is another host, right? And yeah, definitely we have to connect with them some network fabric as well as the storage fabric. So for the level of connectivity, we at least use two physical network ports to connect with the top of rack switches. Normally we prefer not network switch, also we called as an TOR switch, top of rack switch. Like this would be a rack, there would be one switch, there would be another rack, there could be another switch. So for maintaining the network redundancy, we always connect these ESXi host with the top of rack switch, right? In that way. And it could have two port minimum for redundancy purpose, but somewhere you will see there would be four ports available, right? And for the out of band management connectivity, then we say how we'll access the server console. There would be a separate switch, that's we call that in management switch. So all these management ports will be connected from all the nodes on this management switch, right? And further they will be connected to your layer 3 device, that will connect it to somewhere to your layer 4 and layer 7 device, and in this way your traffic go outside of your data center in any of the cloud provider, that is private, public. That's a traditional way of architecturing the environment. Okay, and also for storage fabric, there would be some storage switches available. Then again there would be redundant. I'm just drafting this for two, but yes, the same picture will be available for rest of the two nodes. There would be some storage controllers, there would be some storage box, the storage will be percentage. So that is called as storage switches. These are storage switches and these are the storage controller. So what is the advantage to bring the ESXi as an hypervisor? Okay, so the core advantage, if we'll compare the previous slides where we are using thousands of server, so if we'll take that ratio of 1,000 physical server you were using for separate operating system, separate applications. So now you don't need to use all these thousands of servers. Only you can maintain like 15 to 10 ESXi servers, and you can you can put your virtual machine and you can easily, you know, manage them. You can put your operating system, then you can put your desired application. Okay, so instead of 1,000 physical servers, now you need to manage only 10 or 15 ESXi host, and on the top of these ESXi host you are going to provision your virtual machines, and you are going to put an operating system inside the virtual machine. All right.
Sir, one doubt.
Yeah, please.
Sir, one EXA server can how many systems? I mean,
Yeah, so on each ESXi host there is always a limitation from the version perspective we are using. Okay, so there is two factors. First factor is density. When we say density, what is it? Capacity, CPU, memory, and storage. Second thing is what is the vSphere version? I mean, what is the ESXi version we are using? Okay, on the basis of version, we can define that how many virtual machines will be created. Got it?
yeah, okay, sir.
So if we want to see what is the maximum VM, we will talk it later. There is, for each version, there is available maximum configuration guide. What? Maximum configuration guide. That will let you know all the maximum configurations for, not only from virtual servers perspective we can run, also it will tell us what is the maximum limits of hardware to consume by this ESXi host, what is the maximum limit for CPU, memory, storage, how many hosts we can keep in cluster. That's all it will, let you know. Okay, probably you can Google and you can search maximum configuration guide for vSphere 7. Then you will find all the max limits for your overall vSphere environment. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me take you on next slide.
Sir, Hoshari, one doubt I have.
Yeah, please.
So there is suppose one fiber FC port
Mhm.
and one is Ethernet. So management port we will configure only Ethernet port, right? We will not configure any.
Management, yeah, management always not an heavy density ports. Those are in 1 GB speed only.
Okay,
Why?
and what is HB card? HBA is different. Ethernet is NIC is different.
Yeah, definitely. All these are the different configurations. So NIC and HBA, there is two types of adapter. Primary NIC used for network connectivity and HBA used for storage connectivity.
Okay.
And under the Ethernet network connectivity, we have different types. We will talk in detail. One primarily for production network, secondary for management network. Normally the NICs we will use primarily for production network. Those are in high speed like 10 GB, 25 GB, 100 GB, like that. But the Ethernet, the NICs we are using for management purpose, that is only 1 GB, because except management, that is rarely even we need to access the management port, because all these UI task, VM creation task, VM management, that all will be managed by these ports that we are going to use for the production network. When we say production network, there is different type of network categories that we are going to discuss. When we say HBA is primarily used for your SAN connectivity. Okay, it could be FC SAN, it could be your iSCSI SAN. In case of NAS, again we will use only Ethernet if there is a network attached storage available. Okay, so there is different families of storage. If we are using SAN, then we will use HBA cards or HBA ports, host bus adapter. What we say then? Host bus adapter, and network interface card is NIC. But in case we are using network attached storage, and we have to again utilize the NICs. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so now I am dropping one more diagram here. I'm drawing, sorry, not dropping. So the overall, just in continuation of previous slide, I want to showcase you a little bit more detail. All these ESXi host we are going to install into the environment, like ESXi host 1, 2, 3. Okay, once they will be ready to use, so the next task is we need to manage some software them centrally. Okay, so to manage all these hosts centrally and the running virtual machine, like for example, this host have running 35-60 virtual machine, that have running around 60-70 machine, this have running 60-70 machines, right? So how we are free to manage all these hosts individually as well by using HTTPS and browse the console, correct? But you just assume a scenario. Tomorrow you have to do some maintenance activity, like you have to do some patching or update activity for the host, or maybe for the host, but you are managing that individually. So what is the problem will come? If you will do some patching, server will be down and all your machines will be down for that time. So then the customer to whom you are providing the support, he won't be able to access it application, and there will be a huge loss in the customer business, right? Maybe those are some banking applications, maybe those are some retail applications, maybe those are some online shopping applications, right? So or by any chance it will get failure, then there would not be nothing, then customer have to create this environment again, and then he have to invest a lot of money. Okay, so to avoid this situation, what VMware did is VMware create a management software for to managing all these hosts, that is called vCenter server. What? vCenter server. So what is this vCenter server? So this vCenter server is a software that is going to be installed inside a virtual machine itself. And what how it you are what how it's helping you? It's helping you to manage all the host from one console. And this vCenter server allows you to create a group, a team of all these running ESXi hosts. So that logical group of these hosts is called cluster, vSphere cluster. So once we will logically make a group from this management software, as that's called as an vSphere cluster. So what is the advantage of that cluster? So under this cluster, we can enable multiple features like high availability, like DRS, FT. So if we will enable high availability, it means that by any cause, if any, now it's a team, okay? It's a team for of your ESXi hosts. So what is the advantage of making them as a team? If by any chance, if we want to do some maintenance activity for any of the host at a time, like for the time being, I want to do patch. So during the patch, this host will consider as an down in the sense ki it will not, we cannot keep on running the virtual machines on this particular host during the maintenance activity. So once we will go ahead and do some maintenance activity, if it's a cluster, we have an facility to move all these VMs to another host. Those are the part of this cluster during the maintenance activity. So once they will move, this will be empty, do this maintenance activity, bring this host online, then some of the VMs you can migrate back, you can move back to this particular host. Okay. Second thing is to making the cluster by any reason, power failure or some network connectivity loss, storage connectivity loss, this host goes in down state, any of the host. So what will happen? The running VMs will be switched automatically to another host in the cluster. but there would be a power cycle. There would be a power cycle. Power cycle means the VMs, the virtual servers which were running here, those will be rebooted on another available host. There would be power cycle, that's fine, but they will not be permanently down. Like we consider a individual host get down, then all the running virtual servers will get down, and customer who are using some application on those virtual servers, those would be down permanently. But if in case in a high availability feature, if a host will get down, the VMs will be restarted. There would be minimum downtime on individual machine, right? So these are some basic things I am just describing you. The all details part we're going to discuss more in the modules coming with. Okay, so but yeah, to give you a little bit of background is was mandatory to set the initial level of picture what we are going to study and what we are going to do, right? So okay, so today at least we will cover some of the part. Overview of vSphere virtual machine, overview of virtualization resources, and vSphere user interface. Then next lesson is overview of ESXi. So under this module, there is 4 lessons we are going to cover. Okay, in continuation. So first lesson is overview of vSphere and virtual machine. So we'll talk the basic concept of virtualization. Okay, describe how vSphere fit into software-defined data center and in cloud infrastructure, and describe how to proactively manage your vSphere environment, sorry. Okay, so when we say virtualization, we talk a bit just, I mean, since morning in today's session, we are talking. So these are some basic terms we have to focus, right? The operating system. So what is an operating system? You people very well know, even better than me. An operating system is to use to run any application as an underlying software that's provided, right? So it could be any Microsoft, Windows OS, it could be Linux, it could be Mac, any of the operating system, right? And what is the application? A application that is run on the top of an operating system. And any of the application requires some level of operating system to operate it. So any like Microsoft Office, Chrome, XYZ number of applications are available in the market. Those could be publicly available and those could be privately developed by the application developer team. What is a virtual machine? A specialized application that abstract your hardware resources into the software. What is the guest? The operating system that's run in a virtual machine. Normally we say that as a guest operating system. And sometimes we say uh, virtual machine as a guest VM also. Hypervisor. Hypervisor is again a, a software layer. What that is doing, that on the top of it, you are going to run your virtual machine or your virtual server. So these are some of the examples: VMware ESXi, Workstation Fusion, but it's the most prominent one that we are going to use in production environment. A host, a host is a physical server. On the top of it, you are going to install as an ESXi hypervisor, correct? So if we'll start from the bottom, this is my physical server. Initially, you have to just do some power on self test, start it, check the basic network connectivity. Then on the top of it, you have to install your hypervisor as an ESXi. On the top of it, you have to create a virtual machine. To this virtual machine, assign the virtual resources. When I say virtual resources, it means that assign this CPU, memory, storage, network, disk, whatever you think to we require, we normally see in a physical computer, physical server. The same resources would be available to assign to a virtual machine. Okay. Then on the top of virtual machine, the next term is come. You gonna to install an operating system, and on the top of this operating system, you are going to install your desired application. So who is you? As a vSphere admin, this is your task to create ESXi, manage ESXi, create the virtual machine for the end user, for the customer. Now, installing OS. This could be you as an vSphere admin, and this could be customer as well. Okay. Then installing application. Yes, this could be this uh, to manage the application. That's the work of application team, not your work as an vSphere admin. Your work, vSphere admin, create, manage ESXi host, creating VM, managing VMs. When I say managing VMs, sometimes you have to create one VM, 100 VM, 1000 VMs, manage their resources, manage their challenges if there is any problem coming. The same way you going to manage your ESXi host and the operating system. Okay, operating system, as I said, it is optional. It could be in your scope to install an operating system and manage that near in future, or applications come under the scope of customer. It's the application team who is managing the application. Okay. Then what is vSphere? So vSphere is just a suite of your virtualization product, and the available features in ESXi and vCenter together is called vSphere. Cluster, a group of hosts that you are going to create. I just showcase you before minute. vSphere vMotion, moving the virtual machines from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. vSphere high availability, it is just a feature of cluster. It is just a feature of, let's assume all these are my ESXi host. ESXi1, ESXi2, ESXi3, ESXi4. These are logically collected as a cluster, and on the top of this cluster there could be number of VMs are running. So when we say the high availability feature, it means that if any of the host goes down by XYZ reason, the available virtual machines will move to another host. Okay, so that will maintain this DRS. We will talk a lot about these concepts. Don't worry. These are just basics here. Distributed resource scheduler. So what distributed resource scheduler do is normally, because these are the team of 4 members. Assume this is okay. So sometime what happen, on one host, there is 4 or 5 VMs, but rest of the host are running 2, probably 1, probably 3 VMs. So in this case, the intelligence of your cluster is by using the distributed resource scheduler feature. What this DRS features normally do, it will check out which host have how many servers running on. Suppose that this have 5 in this case. So what it will do, it will automatically move some of the virtual servers from this host to another host where sufficient resources are available. When we say sufficient resources, means that they are using, I mean, they have available CPU, memory, storage enough as compared to this, but they will do automatically balancing. When I say balancing, it means that they will automatically migrate your virtual servers from disbalanced, or I would say fully loaded host to free host. That is something what your distributed resource scheduler is going to do. So all these features comes under your vSphere clusters. Okay. And how we are going to manage them? We are going to manage them by a software that's called vCenter server. All right. As I said, you can individually also manage them host, but yes, always in production environment, you will see all the host primarily will be managed by a vCenter server. If there is some problem in connectivity, these are not presenting, then we access the individual console of the host and would be able to see what's actually happening there. All right. Any question so far?
No, sir.
Cool. I will not save the contents on these slides because later on you will not be you will not be able to read them. Okay. So now have a little bit more about virtual machine. As I said you in very beginning, a virtual machine just a representation of software. And if we compare a virtual machine with physical server, only the difference is this is software defined. A virtual machine is a software defined. When I say software defined, you can do each and everything whatever you are doing in a physical server, okay, or a physical machine, but only the difference is you cannot touch it, you cannot feel it. Okay, this is not somewhere, this is not a physical box for you because that's running as a virtual, it's a software defined component. But from features perspective, from work perspective you are doing, it is just parallel to physical server. So what you normally see in a physical server, there is some CPU, there is some RAM, there is some BIOS, there is some network card, there is some parallel port, there is some serial port, there is some IDE controller, there is some SCSI controller. You see that? How many of you are aware of it? Almost all, right? So all the things are available in a virtual machine, but before that you have to just add a word virtual. Okay, so when you purchase a physical server from the market, it comes with all these stuff, correct? And when you prepare a physical server for any purpose, okay, so you just check the health of all the component, your CPU, memory, network interface card and all. Then you put the desired operating system. It could be any Windows, Linux, whatever you want to put. Then you just install the software drivers, correct? Software drivers. The same strategy here. You will create a VM somewhere on the top of a physical server where you have installed ESXi. Okay, once VM will get ready, you will put an operating system. Now you will ask, sir, from where I will bring the drivers of these, my keyboard, mouse, IDs, SCSI, network controller, pointer device, that all. Okay, so that all being available as a set of virtual drivers within your ESXi host that we call VMware tools. So what we need to do only, what is a VMware tool? VMware tool is a set of your drivers that is being used to operate all the virtual components available inside your virtual machine. Okay. By default, some native drivers are inbuilt, however, but yes, to add an additional drivers, we have to, what we need to do, because these tools are available as a set of drivers in my ESXi, only the things you need to do, you just mount these VMware tool the same way you mount some physical disk, USB, pen drive, or CD drive or whatever to install the drivers in physical server. So here is set of drivers are available in your ESXi hypervisor. You mount them as an ISO from your ESXi. It will be available. We'll show them near in future and just install the drivers. It's always being recommended to install the VMware tools once you install an operating system inside the virtual machine. All right. As I said, all the resources are available in virtual machines as well, but all these are the software defined component, correct? When I say software defined, it means that they are not actually physically exist somewhere. All right.
Yes, sir. So one question here
Yes, yes, please.
regarding VMware tools. When we create a virtual machine,
Mhm.
So it's updated. It's install updated VMware tool, or we have to
We
install.
have to. We have to.
Okay. So what is the reason if we are
Once
creating new
once
virtual
we
machine?
will create a VM, VM is nothing. It is just an empty cell, right?
Okay.
At a next step, you have to install operating system. Okay. And once OS is installed, at the next step, you have to install VMware tools. Until there
Okay.
is no operating system, you would not be able to install the tools.
Okay.
The same way you do in a server, na? Like you bring some desktop at your home or laptop or whatever. First, you have to install operating system, correct?
Correct.
Then only you will identify the drivers inside that operating system. Same way is here. First, you will create a VM as an empty shell. Then you will put desired operating system. Then you will install VMware tools. So you don't need to find anywhere. You will go to VM console. Automatically, it will show you. Just mount the VMware tools. That's it. That is available in your hypervisor by default.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay.
Yeah. So I am just cleaning up this slide. So there is some more advantage being shown for your hypervisor. Sorry, for using virtual machine as compared to physical server. So when we talk physical server, it is difficult to move or copy. Somewhere we need to be, change the place of physical server. So it's not a easy task for you to take away the physical server from one location to another location. Then hardware change and the life of physical server is 2 3 years 5 years something. Okay, always we required contact upgrade hardwares and all. So there is a lot of things we need to manage and maintain in case of physical server. In case of we are using virtual servers, it is easy to move. So when we say move, it means that if we need to migrate this virtual server from one data center to another data center somewhere, so this is nothing. This is just a set of softwares. That's it. You can easily carry. You can easily grow the hardware, software. You can easily upgrade, right? So insulated from hardware changes. It means that if you are underline adding some hardware, CPU, or memory, that's not be impacted. Everything will be keep on running. And the major advantage is like you can run like hundreds of 50 20 25 on the basis of your desire together, right? So it's easy to upgrade the hardware. Don't need to contact with vendors and all. Only you have to go virtual machine console and just upgrade the CPU, memory, or storage, whatever you want, right? So using virtual is always beneficial as compared to use dedicated physical for each and every application. So slide number 25, slide number 15 would be the today's last slide. So what we can virtualize? So we can virtualize server. So when we say server, that we are talking again and again. So we can virtualize our desktop, we can virtualize the storage, we can virtualize the network. So what it means that, so you just assume these all are my ESXi hosts grouped together. So by running this, what we can virtualize on the top of it. So instead of we are using dedicated physical servers or my physical desktop, when I say server, so you may get confused here, desktop virtualization and server virtualization. So normally the desktop base or the client based operating system like your Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, all these we called as an uh, client operating system, because these are normally used to access the interface, the basic task, right? When we say server based operating system, it means that there is some services are running, maybe DNS, maybe some DHCP, Exchange, database, है ना? Mailing server, database server. So all these are the servers platform, right? So what we can do, like for example, today you are using separate server for SQL, separate physical server for Exchange, separate physical server for Oracle, separate physical server for DNS. So what you can do, instead of using in isolated way, you can create the virtual servers, and uh, you can present them in a virtual machine format, and you can install your desired operating system. And also you have the facility to convert P to V, that's we call as in physical to virtual. Same way, you can virtualize your client-based operating system you are running as in kind of where we are using VDI environment, like the customer who wants to work something, they need initially a VDI server, a jump server to enter into any particular data center. We can also virtualize the network. That's right, because if on individual ESXi we are running 50 or 25 VMs, all the networks centralized managed by the networks available, 2 NICs, maybe 4 NICs. All the network traffic will be managed only by these NICs. Same way, storage can be virtualized. The available storage for these servers, like to these 12 servers, we have assigned suppose 20 TB of storage. And if we are running approximately 100 of virtual machines totally on these all servers, so these storage will be shared between them. That's we called as an virtualizing the storage, right? So there is number of things can be virtualized. Network functions can also be virtualized. So so this is a big picture actually. You can, till now we are only discussing VMware, vSphere. A traditional storage can be converted in a VMware based vSAN, NSX. Okay, these are my underlying hardwares. These are my virtual infrastructure where we can use all these software to virtualize your data center, VMware vSphere, virtualize your storage, VMware vSAN, virtualizing network functionality, NSX, and then additional cloud layer for self-service portal, billing purpose, orchestration purpose, site recovery manager for DR purpose. For security, there is some features. So this entire stack is presenting the VMware software defined data center as an VMware private cloud. If you really wants to make VMware private cloud, that's purely software defined. For that, we have to use all these VMware stack. These are the different product family available from the VMware. Those are going to create a private cloud environment for me. All right. So this slide is very much deep technical. You will keep on studying, keep on learning, then you will understand. Like today we are here only. What we are, I mean, this course is this, that's it. Before, okay. So to learn, if you want to learn detail on vSAN, NSX, these are the basic things. Site recovery manager, operation, orchestration, VR as a cloud platform, business continuity, SRM, vSphere application, security features. All these are the separate products, and separate services are provided by separate products. Okay, so that's a very big picture. So if you will keep on learning, then it will come. Okay, so VMware Cloud Foundation is again a software defined data center product from VMware that's underline use compute as an vSphere, storage vSAN, and for network virtualization it use NSXT. NSXT is again a virtualization product from VMware for virtualizing the network functionality. Okay, so again the vSphere is a base for all to put on storage virtualization and utilizing network virtualization, private cloud layer, whatever you want to use. Yeah, Skyline, you don't need to read for now. Leave it. Yeah, that's it. I was trying to cover here. Skyline. Yeah, that's fine. Skyline, we can talk tomorrow a little bit on it. But yeah, that's it. What I just want to cover in today's session. So before we close the recording, if you'll have any question, we'll be happy to take. and tomorrow we will go a little bit deeper how the if we are creating ESXi, under ESXi, how the resource being virtualized and how they are going to assign to the virtual machines with respect to CPU, memory. Okay. And again, to remind you, for any private cloud, any public cloud provider, they are using some of the underlying hypervisor that is somewhere it is customized, but from concept wise, the underlying infrastructure is purely based on a virtualization platform. Only there is some layer for cloud, that is they are using as in cloud software that's providing you as in self-service portal. Okay, however, you can make your own private cloud also by using VMware product suite. Okay, cloud, public cloud is nothing, just a, they have done this task proactively. I mean, they have done all these tasks already for you. Okay, and they are selling them as in public cloud, right? Yeah, that's it. That's my goal for today's session. If you guys have any question, you please let me know. Else I'm closing the recording for the day, and I'm going to share the contents for this module with you guys. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let me